Hi everyone, welcome in the session. So this is session two, where I am going to tell you about like how you can do transition from admin to dev role. So in previous session we discussed about backend development, and in this session we will be discussing more about front end development. And I will give you a quick uh, background like what we discussed in yesterday's session, last session, so that we can have a connect between both the sessions. So this webinar will be mostly focusing on lightning components. So we'll do hands-on as well, like we did in the last session. So first we'll talk about saasguru, and I will tell you about me. So many of you might know about both like saasguru and me, but still we'll give you a quick recap. Then the main agenda for these sessions, those I am delivering to tell you how you can do a transition from Salesforce admin role to Salesforce developer role. And it is very easy, like you are already in Salesforce admin role, or you know about admin responsibilities. So it is very easy for you to become a Salesforce developer. So in session one, I discussed about the backend development role requirements, and in this session, I will be discussing about front-end development role requirements, and we'll discuss about certifications as well. So in last session, I told you like if you want to become a developer, so you need at least two certifications, right? But sorry, three certifications. So I just added one more certifications for front-end development, so that I will show you. So this is me. My name is Sanjay Gupta, and I am here to deliver a webinar on Lightning Web Component. I am basically working as a Salesforce consultant, and along with that, I do some education stuff as well. Like I'm actively involved in YouTube and Udemy community. I have created lots of content there, and I'm associated with saasguru as a trainer as well as mentor. So like if you already have your membership with the saasguru Slack community, so you can search me there, and if you want to discuss something, so you can reach out to me. And below you can see different social media handles. Those are available. So you can follow me anywhere, wherever you want. Then like I just want to appreciate saasguru, because saasguru is the only platform in the world who is providing free as well as paid both kind of training. Like if you prefer free seminars or webinars, so that you can understand the topic well, and then you can start your preparation as a self learner, so that is also possible. And lots of free content is available online. So in these sessions you can just get to know like what that particular thing is, and then you can start learning tools yourself. But they provide some courses, like paid self-paced courses and paid trainings as well, so you can enroll in anyone, whichever you like. Then saasguru community is available on two places. You can just join a Slack community. So in the Slack community, lots of learners are connected, and you can interact with each other, and you can post your queries and you can find the solutions. And you can just follow LinkedIn community, so that you can just be aware of latest information, what is happening in the Salesforce ecosystem. So next, you can download this app as well. I think it is launched recently, I think in the month of November or December. So you can download this on App Store or Google Play, so you can use it to learn Salesforce. Okay, now coming on to the topic. So in the last session, I discussed like what Salesforce admin does. So we discussed like Salesforce admin role is basically dependent on configuration, data security and sharing, data analysis, or process automation. And there we don't need to write any code. Now, if you want to do a transition from admin to developer, so you need to focus on these five things. So first four we discussed in last session as well. In this session, we will be mainly focusing on lightning component. So what is lightning component? What are different ways to implement lightning component? So here you can see two terminologies are mentioned, which are Aura and LWC. So I will be discussing about both so that you have a clear understanding on the differences. So these are the topics if you want to begin your development journey. So first of all, you need to learn Apex and all these topics you need to learn there. Then if we talk about next topic, that will be Apex Trigger. So Trigger is basically a backend development tool which is used to implement automation. So it is kind of similar to record triggered flows if you have implemented those. So in place of record triggered flow, earlier we used to implement triggers. But nowadays, Salesforce is improving their record triggered flow a lot. So both are similar, but implementation of Apex Trigger is like more easy as compared to record trigger flow if we talk about the complexity. So whenever you want to implement complex flows, so better you implement trigger for that. Then we discussed like whenever we implement Apex code, like in form of Apex class or Apex trigger, so we need to implement its test class as well so that we can test our code through code. And if you want to run any process in the background, so those processes you can just implement through asynchronous Apex, right? So now if we talk about the certification, so in last session, I told you to become a backend developer, you must have App Builder PD1 and PD2 certification. But if we talk about front-end development, so in front-end development, we need to implement components, and those are Lightning component because right now we are using Lightning experience of Salesforce. Earlier, we used to implement like pages for Salesforce Classic. That was the previous or outdated version that is available with Salesforce. And in Salesforce Classic, we used to implement Visual Force pages. So I think many of you might have heard about Visual Force. So Visual Force pages we used to develop for Salesforce Classic. And Classic is outdated, so that's why Visual Force pages are also outdated. Now, in current Lightning experience environment, we need to development Lightning components. So Lightning components are implemented with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And Salesforce offers you a certification, which is JavaScript Developer 1. Right? So if you say like, front-end development, and if you have JavaScript Developer certification as well, so it means you have a good knowledge of that tool. Then we did a demo, like I just created a flow in the last session and I compared it with trigger as well. Like if you want to trigger for the same requirement, so how it can be accomplished with low code and with code. When I say low code, it means flow. When I say code, it means it can be Apex trigger or test class. Okay, now let's talk about Lightning component. So like whenever you heard Lightning component, so there may be a doubt in your mind, like what is Lightning component and what is Lightning Aura, LWC? What are these terminologies? So let me discuss this with you. So basically, in initial days when Lightning Experience was launched, so it was basically known as Lightning component. So Lightning components are available for a front-end purpose. Like if you want to create a simple component that you want to place on the page, so that is basically known as Lightning component. So let me give you a quick overview. So I'm in the org, right? And in this org, if I want to show you a Lightning component, so how it will look like. So basically I am on the home page. And if I click on this gear icon and click on edit page, so this is opening Lightning App Builder. And here you can see our page is divided into different pieces. So if I click here, so this is one component. If I click here, it is another component. Then this is another component. This is another component. So this way you can see our page is divided into different blocks. and these blocks are independent components. And these independent components are known as lightning components. So when Salesforce launched Lightning Experience means this look and feel. Whatever you see here, it is under Lightning Experience, right? So you are currently viewing everything on this UI as Lightning Experience. So in Lightning Experience, we implement Lightning component. And when those Lightning components were in the market, so to implement Lightning component, we need to use Aura framework, right? So we have two types of Lightning components. One, those are built on top of Aura framework, right? And another, which is popular as Lightning Web component. So those Lightning components are based on Web Standard framework. That's why it is known as Lightning Web component. So anytime you can say like either you will be implementing Lightning component with Aura, or you will be Lightning component with Web Standard. So that's why we can say Lightning Aura component or Lightning Web component. Right. So I hope this clears your doubt between Lightning Aura and Web components. Still, if you have doubts, so you can just post your questions in the chat. So after a little bit explanation, I will be picking those questions and will try to answer. Again, I am jumping here. Now, some of you might heard about Classic. Like in this session also, I took this Classic word, right? So if you don't know how Classic looks like, so I want to give you a brief visuals of that as well. So if you click on this icon, Dixie, this is a Salesforce icon basically. And if you click here, this symbol is basically represents Dixie. Dixie is a Salesforce, you can say swag. So basically, if you click here, you see this option, switch to Salesforce Classic. So I'm just clicking here. And this is Salesforce Classic, right? And from here, if I open any application, so I need to click here. I'm opening sales application. If I go to accounts and open any of the account record. So now we need to understand the difference between Salesforce Classic and Salesforce Lightning Experience. So in Salesforce Classic, everything is available in form of a page. Here you can see there is no component. We cannot edit our page. This page is like a single page. If you edit your page and you want to see this page in form of component, so that is not possible. It is kind of a web page. Like if you scroll, you will see other information. And these pages we implement with the help of Visualforce. Okay, so this is our Classic environment. Now on top, you can see we have switched to Lightning Experience. So Lightning Experience was developed so that we can divide our page into different pieces. And those pieces are known as components. So that we can create a component and we can place that component on more than one pages as well. But that is not possible with this UI. Okay. So I'm jumping to Lightning Experience now. And you can see it is having different UI. So now you can just relate like this is a component, then activity chatter, it is another component. And inside component, we have tabs. So we can place two components together in a component. Okay, so this is basically difference between Salesforce Classic and Salesforce Lightning Experience. So Lightning Experience is a environment. So you create Lightning component for Lightning Experience. And to create Lightning components, we have two standards. One is Aura and one is WAP. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. So moving forward, let's create a Lightning Aura component so that you understand how we can build it and how we can place that Lightning Aura component on the UI. So to build Lightning Aura component, you can just use your developer console. So I just clicked here on the gear icon and selected this developer console. So developer console is basically integrated development environment where you can build all the codes. So in last session, we created this trigger, and in this trigger, we implemented a method. It is now modified, so you can see how trigger works. So here lots of methods are implemented, and we have insert, update, delete, and here you can see lots of methods are implemented. So all these methods are implemented to perform certain operations in the background. Now, if you want to place your component on the UI, so we need to create a Lightning component for that. So here, if you click on File, New, so you will see this option, Lightning component. So here I'm going to create my first component, so demo or a Lightning component, right? Now here you can see we have these checkboxes. So it is basically for the purpose like where on which page you want to place your component. So I just want to place my component on the Lightning homepage. So for that, I'm just using this Lightning page. And I clicked on submit. So you can see this file is created. So it is showing the description. So it is of no use. Then here we have some pre-implemented code. Why this is available? Because I selected the checkbox available for Lightning page. So it is showing available for all page types. Now here I just need to implement the code. And at right hand side, you can see lots of files are available that we need to implement. So basically, if we talk about Lightning Aura component, so we generally need to focus on 3 files. One is HTML, one is CSS, and one is JavaScript. So here we have this component file, which will contain the HTML code. So here we can write some HTML like my first Lightning Aura component. Then you can write a p tag demo and you can save it. Now, if you want to create some variable, so that is also possible. So that you can create as Lightning, Aura colon attribute name equals to test, then type equals to string. So this way I created a variable. So in Lightning Aura, variables are created as attributes. So this is name of this attribute. And if you want to show the value of attribute, so you need to write this notation. Inside curly braces, you will be writing exclamation, then v.test. Now, if you want to fill the value of this test attribute, so you can just click on this controller. This controller is basically JavaScript file. So here you need to write your code. So I'm just writing component.set, then v.test, and here you can write, suppose I'm writing my name and saving this. So I just saved JavaScript controller. I'm saving this component as well, right? So my component is ready. So I have 2 ways to test it. One, I can create a Lightning application where I can just place my component. And second one is we can directly place this component on the UI. So let's first test it with the first way. So I'm just creating this Lightning application. And in this application, I will be placing my component. So all the components that we create, those are stored by default in C namespace. So you just need to write Lightning, demo Aura LC. So this way you can call your component in the application. So now you can see this is the component which is having these 8 files. This is my application which is having 7 files. One is not available here. And here we have a preview button, which is not available with this component. So in app only, you will find this preview button. As I click on this preview button, so a new tab will be opened automatically and you will see the results. So here you can see the results. Value of attribute is not displayed here. So let me check why it is not displayed. And one more thing I need to write, that is extends force colon SLDS. So SLDS is basically Salesforce Lightning Design System. So you can see now it is showing the result in form of Salesforce Lightning Design System. Earlier result was in different way. So if I remove it and save it, so you can see it is having different look and feel. And if I put it and save it, so you can see it is refreshing automatically and it is having different look and feel. So right now here, Salesforce Lightning Design System is applied. Okay, why that is not working? Because this my action, I just forgot to call this my action function. So basically what we need to do, we need to call a handler name equals to init. So init is basically for initialization, so that we can call that method on load of the component, right? So we need to call it this aura handler name equals to init, and we need to call the action c dot, and you will be calling this my action here. So let's refresh this component now. And here you can see now it is showing the value. So what I did, I just used this aura handler. So this aura handler executes automatically on load of component because we named it as init. And what it is doing, it is calling this method, which is my action, and it is defined here. So we wrote that statement. That is why this component dot set is executing, and this test variable is having the value as Sanjay. Right. So this way we used to do front-end development. So you can see this is all HTML code having some Salesforce specific extension as well. And it is built on top of Aura. So you can see all the tags which I am using, they are starting with Aura colon. Right. And now you might be thinking like how we can see what all elements are available. So what you can do, you can just search for Lightning Component Library. And if you search for Lightning Component Library, here you will find all the help. So here you will see both. You have this Aura, and you will find LWC as well. So for example, if I search for any element, input. So input related elements are available. So on top, you can see Lightning Web Components, elements, and below you can see Aura. So in Aura, like if you want to receive input from users, so these are the examples, and this is the code. You can simply copy paste and you can use and test it. And if you want to use it in Lightning Web Component, so you just need to click here, and these are some sample. So here it is available, and below is the code that you can use. Okay, so this is complete library, complete reference. So from here, you can search anything, and all the pre-built components are available here. You can just use them, and you can modify them as per your requirement. Okay, so let me just open the chat and want to have some questions here. Which is better, Lightning Aura or Lightning Web Component? So Harsh pasted one question. So answer to this question is like, in recent times, we develop Lightning Web Component. So you should go with Lightning Web Component because all the applications that we are implementing for our clients, so they also demand what is what is the latest thing that is available in the market. So your client also knows like Lightning Web Component is latest tool provided by Salesforce in the market. So they also prefer to use Lightning Web Component. But as a developer, you should know both Lightning Aura as well as Lightning Web Component, because in some of the companies, you might face the challenge to convert existing Lightning Aura components into Lightning Web component. And if you have prior knowledge like how Lightning components are implemented, so you will be able to convert them into Lightning web component easily. But if you are working on a fresh project, which is starting from the beginning, so for sure, you will be working on Lightning web component, and that is used nowadays. Next question, Prem asked, like, in order to transition ourselves from admin to developer, which programming language would be needed? So you can directly learn Apex. If you want to know prior, so you can go with Java. But I would suggest, like, if you are trying to learn Java directly, so you can go with Apex as well. So your next line says, is Apex and web components are equal in feature or how it is? So I already told you, Apex basically works in the background. And for front end, you basically use web components, which are supported by HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, right? Now, we just created Lightning Web component. And if you want to fetch the data from your S objects, like the object which we create in Salesforce, so you can connect your Lightning component with Apex so that you can fetch the data. So Apex always work in the background, and in the foreground, if you are working on Lightning component, so you will be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So basic of those you need to learn, along with specific things that we can do with these Aura and web components. Next is Srijana asked, like, is it mandatory to learn Aura or only? So I think I already answered this question. So if you want to become a good developer, so knowledge of both is mandatory. Like LWC, you should be having all the knowledge. And Aura, if you have some hands-on, like how it is implemented, what are different files, how we can place the component, so that will be enough. And the next question is Lightning Web? Yeah, this is open source language because it follows the web standard. Which we need to focus for platform development certification, LWC, Aura, or Visualforce? I think all. If you are going for PD1 certification, so if you see PD1 certification go, so it covers everything. So let me just show you that as well. So you can just go to Trailhead, and under Trailhead, if you go to certification, so you will find complete syllabus of PD1. So here you can find Platform Developer 1. And if you open this, so you will have this first link. And if you scroll, so you need Apex knowledge. Some admin related concepts will be there, like flow builder, record trigger flows, Apex basics, triggers, asynchronous Apex. Here you can see Visualforce and Lightning experience, Visualforce basics, Lightning web component basics. So all these things you require. I think Aura you can skip, but LWC and Visualforce will be part of that. Next is, I have noticed that when I added some fields in Salesforce, it takes longer for the Lightning experience to update than the Visualforce. Yeah, because Lightning experience is basically dependent on cache. So it creates a cache, and whenever you refresh 2 or 3 times, then that cache basically clears. So at that time, like whenever you implement and just test, so it takes a little bit more time. But that is an advantage, because once your component is already built and user is using, so in that case, that cache basically works fine, then you won't be having any issues. Next is, in order to convert Aura component into LWC, is there any standard procedure in Salesforce, or yeah, you need to do it manually. There is no automated tool like which will be converting Aura into LWC automatically. So I think I covered all the questions. Now I just want to move to Lightning Web Component. So Lightning Web Component is an implementation of W3C's Web Component Standard. So W3C is basically World Wide Web Consortium. So World Wide Web Consortium basically provides standards for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So that well-known web standard we are using at the bottom, and on top of that web standard, we are implementing Lightning Web Components. So Aura is basically specific standard, whereas web standard is common. It is already used to build websites. So that is why we are using Lightning component on that standard, so that your components will be lightweight. It is dependent on existing web standard that is used by the browsers as well. So your component will load in fast terms as compared to Aura. And you can reuse like web standard if you already worked on web standards. So to implement Lightning component will be easy for you. So those who know knowledge of web development, they can easily become Lightning web component developer. Like if you want to switch your career from web developer to Salesforce front-end developer, so it will be very easy. So now we have two things. Those who are good in Java, they can become good backend Salesforce developer by knowing Apex trigger and all. And if you are a good web developer, so you can become a good Salesforce front-end developer by knowing Lightning component development. And if you know both, then easily you can just do a transition to this development role, right? So other things like this Lightning Web Component uses modern JavaScript, which is like ES6 plus whatever latest versions are available. Uses web standard to the Lightning component framework. Then quick component development, because developer has to use only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Code performance using web standard boosts performance because more features are executed natively by the browser instead by a JS framework. Right, so we are using common web standard, which is already supported by browsers. So some of the features are already executed by your browser. So we don't need to use any additional framework to run Lightning components. So these are the three files that we need to manage: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then if you want to use Lightning, if you want to create Lightning web component, so this Aura is not, this developer console is not sufficient, because in developer console, you can create Lightning component. Those are built on top of your Aura framework. If you want to build Lightning web component, so these are the steps that you need to follow. So you first need to download and install Visual Studio Code. Then you need to install Salesforce DX CLI. DX means developer experience. And you need to install Salesforce extension pack. Then you will be creating a project. Then you need to connect your project with Salesforce org. Then if you want to retrieve all the components, those are available in your Salesforce org, in your Visual Studio Code, you can do. And then whatever component you build in Visual Studio Code, so if you want to place them on the UI, so you need to deploy them, right? So I also created a playlist for both Lightning Aura and Lightning Web Component. So if you go to my website, studysalesforce.com, so here under developer section, you will find both Lightning Aura component, Lightning Web Component. So step by step, you can follow all these videos to understand the basic structure, like how we implement Aura component or how we implement web component. So here you can see this second video. This will tell you step-by-step process to install Visual Studio Code, CLI, how to create a project, how to connect your org with your project, and everything, right? And all the steps in easy way. I just explained all the things by demonstrating myself in Visual Studio Code and explaining things like what is the purpose of this thing, why we are using, and how it will look like on the UI. Okay, so in the same way, let's build a component using Visual Studio Code. So here you can see I already have a project created, and my Visual Studio Code is already connected with org. So my project is available here, and here LWC, under this folder, I have lots of components created, right? So right now I'm working on LWC playlist. So these are the components that I created for demo purpose. And if your Visual Studio Code is connected with your org, so you will see this Salesforce symbol here, right? And if your Salesforce org is connected with your a project that is on your Visual Studio Code, and if you want to open your org, so at the bottom you can see this block is available. If you click on this icon, your org will be opened automatically. So you can see running SFDX open default org. So if you click on this, your org will be opened automatically. It is opened, and here you can see, right? So it opened automatically. Now, if I want to open any application, so I can go and open the application. So I'm on home page, and here you can see lots of demonstrations I already demoed, which are available here. So now I'm going to give you a quick demo, like how you can create your Lightning Web component. I'm not going to show you how we can set up this because it will take lots of time. So a video is available on my website as well as on YouTube channel where this playlist is available. So you can go either way, and you can just watch that video so that you can set up Visual Studio Code in your system. And if you want to create new Lightning Web component, so you just need to right click on this folder LWC and just click on this create Lightning Web component. So here you can write name of your Lightning Web component. So I'm naming it as saasguru demo, and here I am pressing enter so that that Lightning Web component will be available under this folder. So here you can see demo HTML, demo JS, and demo XML. 3 files are created automatically. CSS file is not created. So if you want to apply some CSS, so you can just manually create that file. So if you want to create new file, so again, you can right click on the component that you created, click on new file, follow proper naming convention. So try to name it with same name of your component and press enter. So now you have your CSS file as well. So first of all, I'm going to write HTML code. So here I'm writing H. Okay. So let me put a tag lightning card, and I'm writing the title Lightning Web Component Demo. So this is Salesforce specific element, that is lightning card. Now here you can use simple HTML. So H1, so my first lightning web component. Then you can use BR tag for line change. Then you can use P tag for paragraph. Right, so this way you can implement. So this lightning card is basically Salesforce specific element. So again, if you want to search it, so you can go to lightning component library, and here you will find these. So if I search for lightning card, so here it is. So if you search for card only, so you will find it. So you can see the code is available, lightning card, and then you can say the title. So lightning card basically give you a background, white background, so that your output will be matching the Salesforce Lightning Experience UI. Okay, so if I comment it out, so let me just show you output without it. So this I am commenting. So you can see how I commented. So these are the comment beginning and ending comment that we use in the HTML file. So I'm just saving it. Okay. And I just implemented HTML file as of now. Nothing is available in CSS, nothing is available in JavaScript, right? Now, after implementation of this HTML file, if you want to place your component on UI, so you need to take help of this meta.xml. So here you can see is exposed is written as false. So you need to write true so that your component will be exposed outside this Visual Studio Code. And you can just set the targets. So I'm choosing Lightning homepage. So we can set multiple targets as well. So if I want to have one more target, for example, record page. So if you want to place your component on specific objects record page, so you can have two targets. So it means your lightning component will be placed on home page or record page. Then just save it, right? So we just implemented HTML and XML file. Now what we need to do, just right click on this and you just need to click on deploy source to org. So a component is deploying. So, okay, it is giving some error. So lightning component resource. Okay, this CSS file is creating a problem. So actually the CSS file is blank. That is why it is creating a problem. So let me just fill it with some code. So I just saved it. And again, I am deploying my component. So this time you can see deploy source to org successfully ran. So my component name is saasguru demo. Now I'm jumping to my org. So here it is. And I'm already on home page. Clicking here and edit page. So like in Aura, I forgot to show you like how we can place our component. So I'm going to cover both. So here, generally as an admin, you see the standard components which you drag and drop. You might have dragged and dropped flows multiple times. But if you scroll down and if you want to see custom components, those are already implemented in your org. So here you can see all those components available. So we created demo Aura lightning component. So I'm going to place it. So it is placed here and this saasguru demo, I'm placing it just beside that, right? So those two components are placed. And I'm moving back. So on home page, you will see both. So this is my Aura component, right? And this is my web component. And you can see in web component, the background is not having that white color, right? It is not having white background. So now I will be uncommenting these statements like lightning card will be there. So I'm uncommenting. So whenever you update your lightning component in Visual Studio Code, so I just uncommented this HTML file. I modified this HTML file. So you have two ways, like either you can just deploy this HTML file back to org, or you can deploy whole component. So if you have changed particular file, so I would suggest to deploy that file only so that you can save time. If you deploy whole component, so all the files will be deployed again. So just right click on this file and click on deploy source to org. So now I'm going to refresh the page. So you can see now this component is having white background, which is matching the look and feel of lightning component, right? So this way we can implement our lightning component. And here you can see this text is in bigger font because I applied CSS, and this is in simple normal standard because I have not applied CSS here. So if I take you again to CSS, so I can apply this for p tag as well. So font size, right? And if you want to apply color, so you can do that as well, color red. And here you can apply color green. So this time I just modified CSS file. So I'm going to deploy the CSS file from source to org. And if I refresh my page, so you will see the results in different colors. So you can see heading is in red color and paragraph is in green color. So this way you can apply CSS. Now we have one more file, that is JavaScript. So JavaScript basically used to do some business logic. So Java, whenever you load your component, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, all three files will be loaded on the browser. And if you have any logic that you want to run on the client machine only, so for that we can use this JavaScript file. So for example, if you want to display values through variables, so variables are known as properties here in LWC. So I'm writing it like this. In curly braces, we just need to write name of the property. And this property I'm going to declare here. So this is a variable which is known as property. So you can see if I hover, so here property is mentioned. So test will be a property and I am assigning value here. And the result will be displayed on the HTML here after the paragraph. So I just modified HTML as well as JavaScript. So two files I need to deploy. So instead of deploying two files separately, I'm deploying the whole component. And if I refresh it, so on UI, you will see the result of test property. So here you can see my name is displayed. Test is replaced with my name. So this way you can play around with your Lightning Web component. So we just need to maintain all these four files. And if you want to connect with your Salesforce S objects, if you want to fetch data, those are available under different records. So you can connect your Apex as well, right? So for that, you need to write Apex code and you can simply call Apex and you can fetch the data. So those things you can learn in detail. So if you want to fetch data, so here you can see number 10 is showing that via Apex class method. So with this, you can just connect your Apex class and through Apex class, you can fetch data from your Salesforce org and you can place it on the UI. So till now, I just created 23 videos for LWC. So soon I will be creating a lot more. So I think 60, 70 videos will be there that will give you all the required things, those you need to understand for LWC. Okay, so now I am going to take some more questions. Harsh is asking, can we create list of S object? Yeah, we can. Then how to retrieve LWC, which is already in Salesforce or to Visual Studio Code. So that we need to retrieve. So we need to run the retrieve file. So this is package.xml and here you can see everything is written Aura definition bundle, lightning component bundle, and we have asterisk. So I showed you the step here in the slides. So while performing this, we have this retrieve component. So this step we do to retrieve whatever existing component are available in our org. So through this, you can just retrieve. And how we do that? So for that, you just need to go through the video. And if you perform this file, like you execute this file, so everything will be exported from org to your Visual Studio Code project. There is one question. Srujana asked, please suggest me how to improve coding skill. So coding skill, you can improve only through practice. So coding is equivalent to mathematics. So in mathematics, we do practice and we learn new concepts by practicing mathematics. So coding is similar to mathematics. Like there is nothing like we do a magic and you will learn coding. So if you do practice, then only you will be able to understand. So like I am still learning. I worked for almost 15 years in education and IT ecosystem. So still I am learning. So whenever we start doing practice, that is the only way to learn the code. So there are lots of material which is available free. What you need to do, you don't need to memorize things. You just need to understand, because most of the logics are available on internet. You just need to learn like how it is working and how we can fit that to meet our requirement. So you can see on my website itself, like lots of series are available. So if you want to become a good developer or coder, so you just need to pick particular topic and just start implementing each and every concept practically. If you do practicals, then only you will be able to understand. So whenever you see any blog or video, so don't read or watch. After reading or watching, try to implement that as well. So in my Visual Studio Code, you can see in this project, I also implemented these components. So while implementing these recordings, so I also do practice first. I implement them and then I record, because if I'm implementing any example, so I just need to understand it first. So I go like went through all the steps prior to recording, and then I record. So I'm doing practice twice. So this way you can also do, like if you're watching any video, so just try to implement that code. Don't try to memorize, just try to understand, because syntax is already available on internet. If you forget how to write, so you can take help. So you have whole component library here. So anytime if you want help around syntax, you can just copy and paste, right? Just the thing you need to do practice practically, not theoretically. Harsh is asking, some functions are different in LWC or all JavaScript is same in this. Like I was stuck once on get element by ID. Yeah, some are different. Like if you compare pure JavaScript and JavaScript that we use in LWC, so some things are different, but basic JavaScript is same. On top of that, Salesforce uses more functionalities as well. So that will be available there. And if you want to make command on that, so what I do, I am creating the content through this developer guide. Here, complete Lightning Web Component dev guide is available. So this I showed you for Apex as well. For everything, we have a guide available as a Salesforce source of truth. So you can go through, and here you will find lots of information. So I just read this, then I try to understand, and then I create content. So it takes lots of time to understand. So you just have the ready-made content available. But if you want to go in the depth, so you just need to follow these documentations. So here you will find JavaScript in detail. Here it is. So you can just go through and you can just play around all the links. Those are available with these documents so that you can master yourself in Lightning Web Component. So I just gave you a brief idea. So can we use Bootstrap? No, Bootstrap is not required, because you are going to place your Lightning Web Component in Lightning Experience. So that is all already responsive in nature. Okay, so this is all about today's session. So I hope with these 2 sessions, you gain lots of knowledge. Thank you, everyone.